I want to bring in Democratic Congresswoman from California, Katie Porter. Now, Katie, thank you for joining us. I'm glad you're in D.C. I know when you join us from California, it is very, very early. I want to start with infrastructure, because right now Republicans are working with the White House. If they agree to a smaller bill just focused on hard infrastructure, roads, bridges, transportation, could you get behind that for the time being?
No, because what we're doing here is not an infrastructure bill. It is an economic recovery bill. So infrastructure, hard infrastructure, is a part of our economic recovery. But our economy is not going to fully bounce back from COVID-19, is not going to be on a path to be globally competitive going forward unless we address some of the other issues that workers face. And so we have to be making investments in the people who do the work. We talk so much about jobs, and they are so important, but we also have to have people who are able to take those jobs, who are trained to do it, who are earning a living wage, who are safe in their workplace, who have places for their kids to go. This is an economic package. It's not an infrastructure package. Infrastructure is part of our economy. And that's how I think about it. And I think that's how most of Americans think about it. It's not just about roads and bridges. It's about roads and bridges and childcare and the ability to make ends meet and get an affordable wage. It's about all of the parts of our economy coming together to put us on a path to rapid economic growth and economic stability for years to come.
Even if that's how the majority of Americans feel about it, President Biden doesn't even have all Democrats on board. Some of your colleagues from high-tax states like yours has said if this bill does not include getting rid of the cap on the SALT, state and local taxes deduction, they're not going to support it. I know this impacts you and your district in a big way. Where do you stand on that?
It's really important that no American, regardless of what state they live in, be penalized, punished, or asked to pay more federal tax simply because of the state that they live in. Our federal resources, the federal investments that we make from our tax dollars, are collective. They benefit the whole country. And what the Trump tax bill did was single out people in certain states that are making investments in infrastructure, by the way, and ask them to pay more federal tax than their counterparts in other states. That's unfair. And so I support repealing that deduction, repealing that cap on that deduction, and making changes so that all Americans are paying, and all corporations are paying their fair share toward this economic recovery package. We're still early in the negotiations. As you know, there's no bipartisan agreement yet. There's not even necessarily, as you point out, not all Democrats and not all Republicans are in the same place yet. So I think this is a time for us all to be elevating the concerns we hear in our community and then working toward coming up with what the best balance of things is going forward in a package.
But is removing the SALT cap a deal breaker for you? Some of your colleagues say it's a non-starter. They won't even talk unless it's out.
I'm always going to want, Stephanie, I'm always going to want to talk. I think you know that about me. So there's definitely going to be continued conversations. I think we have to ask ourselves, what are the concerns on the other side? We have a duty to listen to those. You can't just say, nah, my way is the right way. You have to say, what are your concerns? What are the competing concerns? How could we make up this revenue? What are the economic harms of continuing to allow the Trump tax plan to go forward in the way that it has? What is that doing to our communities in California and New York and New Jersey and Illinois and Massachusetts and other states? And what's it doing to the American people's confidence in our tax system, that it is fair and neutral and not being used as a political football? Because that's exactly how President Trump used it. So I'm still in the listening and talking and negotiating stage. I haven't made up my mind because we don't have that final package before us yet. But you can bet I'm going to advocate for my constituents and for the ability and the rights of every American to pay a fair share and get a fair return from the federal government.
How about the kids in your district? I want to talk about the expanded child tax credit. Come July, it's going to start going out monthly. That's very good news, almost like a kid allowance. But there are a certain group of families that it's even harder for them to get this money. And those are families with single parents. Talk us through this.
So the expanded child tax credit is a wonderful policy. It is designed to help make sure that our kids are being well positioned to become our future workforce, that they have adequate nutrition, high quality schools, they have the things they need to flourish. But the way this policy was designed was to essentially set a threshold and then sort of take take a chunk off, split it in half, and say this is the income eligibility threshold for single parents. But that fails to focus on the purpose of the child tax credit, which is to help children. No child in this country, whether they're living in a married household, with a single parent, with a grandparent who's raising them, no child should have less help from the federal government in getting nutritious food, quality housing, good high-quality preschool, simply because of the marital status or family status in which they live. So that's the push that I'm making to eliminate what I call the single-parent penalty, but really it's a kid penalty, and we shouldn't stand for that.
You knew I wasn't going to let you leave without asking. I mean, this morning I was looking you up on Twitter and Savage Katie, Queen Katie, all over the place. Why? Because you brought out the whiteboard to take on a big pharma CEO yesterday, the CEO of AbbVie Pharmaceuticals. I want to play a bit of that.
How much did AbbVie spend on stock buybacks and stock buybacks and dividends to enrich your shareholders from 2013 to 2018?
Well, stock buybacks, if you actually look at just pure stock buybacks, it would be about $13 billion.
$50 billion. So, Mr. Gonzalez, you're spending all this money to make sure you make money rather than spending money to invest in, develop drugs, and help patients with affordable life-saving drugs.
Safe to say that was a bad Tuesday for him. Embarrassing, humiliating, tail between his legs. However, those stock buybacks happened. They're actually happening again because companies made so much money last year. These viral moments are amazing, but is Congress going to do anything about it?
Well, with regard to the pricing of prescription drugs, Congress is dead serious about once again putting this on the table. Last Congress, we passed H.R. 3, the Lower Drug Price Now Act, and there are ongoing discussions about whether reducing the price of prescription drugs needs to be part of how we think about our economic recovery package following COVID. And so I absolutely think we're going to get drug pricing done. I think there's a larger question, which is about pharmaceutical companies are companies. They exist in part to make money for their shareholders, but they also exist in part to power our economy and to engage in sustainable practices. So giving out dividends and then coming back to Congress and asking for a bailout, you and I have lived through cycle after cycle of that.
But they all
it's
just
not
got a bailout.
Management.
They just got one.
And what did they do with that bailout? That's the big question. Did they use it to retain workers? We're seeing with oil and gas companies, and I have a hearing about this today, that in many cases they took CARES money and laid off workers.
Because they were allowed to.
That is unacceptable. Stephanie, you know how I feel about that CARES Oversight Commission. You know that I think Congress needs to step up its accountability game. I think we need more transparency about where money goes. I think we need to set clearer objectives for it. And I think we need to hold ourselves accountable when that money is not being spent in ways that we intended. And I've had conversations with Secretary Yellen about exactly this. And I think she's going to be a very, very good leader on this front if, God forbid, we need to do any more bailouts. But in the meantime, companies also have a responsibility. Nobody is making them use that money on buybacks instead of plowing it back in to research and development, investing in workers. We've seen companies, Bank of America today announced a $25 minimum wage for its workers. Step up is what I say to the other corporations of America, and recognize that your workers are what makes these profits in the first place.